Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. What a wild week it's been for crypto. Now, you obviously saw that introduction. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with CZ and Kevin O'Leary in just a minute. You could see right here, though, we did have, obviously that fake out pump into the FOMC, massive dump afterwards. Now, something that is quite interesting, I just wanted to point out, is that from top to bottom right here, we're only down 7.76% on Bitcoin. And if we actually look at the S&P is actually down around 6%. So they're only 1% difference, which is showing that they're moving incredibly in tandem. Usually Bitcoin tends to fall a little bit harder. We're not seeing that today. This is also coinciding with a DXY move to the upside. And I just wanted to point out super quick, if we do look, at this area right here, you could see basically where we're attempting to have this support. Now, obviously, I don't know what's going to happen over the weekend, but currently it does look like the bulls are attempting to defend this area. You could see it was support here, and right here it acted as resistance, right? Very interesting. If we can hold this level over the weekend, then there may actually be some hope for the bulls. But I do want to actually push the TA to the end of the video today because I want to talk about everything that's been going on. Obviously, there's been a little bit of loss of confidence in the space, and I want to discuss what was going on CNBC. They were really roasting CZ about his proof of reserves and, this $2.1 billion from FTX. And there are just a lot of strange things happening with Mazars, not doing the audit, taking it off of their website. Kevin O'Leary coming out. They're calling each other liars, saying they were going at war. And they're both getting kind of caught in these interesting statements that don't make sense. So I wanted to focus on that super quick, guys. Definitely interesting. I have a lot of video clips. Make sure you guys stick around all the way to the end. Turn on the bell notification. Some people are still not getting those notifications. And also, Donald Trump had an NFT sale that sold out in like a few hours. So that also happened. This is coming from the guy who said that he thought cryptocurrencies was nothing but thin air. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. We have lots of content to go over. So pretty much right here, I will start with this video. So you can see that, David says the media is pushing extremely hard to paint the narrative that this was all due to CZ Binance. Now, this was in response to what CZ had said, because basically Kevin O'Leary, he was at the congressional hearing and he pinned it on him. CZ retaliated, and this is what he had to say. And then after this, I'm going to take us back and see why Kevin O'Leary was, making these remarks in the first place.
But Kevin, you are a principal in this drama. You are an actor in this drama, and you had a front row seat to Sam Bankman-Fried literally up until the very end. Given what you know about him personally, and given what you now know about the numbers and what has happened there, as you said, you're trying to get money back for creditors. What do you think happened? Do you believe this was a fraud?
I don't have the facts. John Ray doesn't have them yet. He's going to get them. I'm looking for my records. I'm willing to fund a forensic audit of our accounts. I'd like to know what happened, obviously. There's a lot of bad things that have been alleged here, no question about it. And some of them are going to be true, likely, because there's no money there. Somewhere, the cash is gone.
Right.
And so this is the beginning of a journey. You're right. I did speak with him prior to him going to jail because I'm just after the facts of where the cash was. Now, let me address something before we go any further. Yesterday on the air, CZ called me a liar. That suggests that I perjured myself in front of the U.S. Senate for 2 hours this week. I can assure you that is not the case. Another little parable here you should understand. When I was young, my birth father, who's Irish, put me on his knee, and every Irishman will know this, and he said, "Son, never call an Irishman a liar unless you know with certainty that's true." And I said, "Why is that, Dad?" He said, "Because the Irish are crazy." Now, I don't know what it meant back then, but I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that. So at the end of the day, I have no ill will to this guy, But he's part of the story too. And you found out yesterday, you did a little work with Squawk Box. We talked about it either being 2 billion or 3 billion, that transaction. That's the largest transaction, I think, of anything in there regarding the balance sheet in recent 24-month period. And he confirmed it was 2.1 billion. And then he confirmed that he still had 550 million, $500 million of FTT tokens. Now, at some point, we're going to look at that week of November 6th, and you ask anybody, why was Sam Bankman-Fried or the whole company FTX forced into bankruptcy? It was jamming down that last $500 million that gave them no option. Now, is that the fatal stroke or blow to get rid of your global competitor? I say yes. And I'll tell you something else. Right after that interview, I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, from a lobbyist in Washington saying, don't go anywhere, you're coming back. So I bet CZ bought himself an invitation to Washington yesterday. Can't wait to meet him there. We can go sightseeing.
So essentially, SBF, FTX, Alameda, whatever, they're all basically the same person at this point, right? Bought out CZ's stake in the company, and they did this using collateral, some of it being FTT token, which obviously is quite worthless, right? So CZ was answering the question about, this situation, and also had touched on Kevin O'Leary, which is sort of what sparked what we had just watched.
CZ, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, and this relates to FTX. Yesterday, Kevin O'Leary testified in front of the Senate, and he was asked, where did the money go? Meaning the FTX money. And he suggested that one place that the money may have gone is, in fact, to you. When Sam Bankman-Fried, back in the summer of 21, effectively bought out your stake in the company. How concerned are you that money will be clawed back? Are you prepared to hand it back to creditors if, in fact, they were to ask? And was it paid to you in U.S. dollars, in some other kind of currency?
Well, first of all, I think Calvin O'Leary, he's making a bunch of nonsense claims, and they don't make sense. They don't make any logic. He shouldn't be making those claims as a celebrity investor. I'm actually very surprised that he's able to omit a lot of different things and make some really specific, targeted things. For example, in that interview with you guys, that in the same interview, he said the entire record from his account on FTX, the entire records are gone. He's not concerned about that. He just picks up the phone and calls SBF. He's not concerned about the fact that the platform records for users are gone. He's not concerned about other users. How many people can pick up the phone and call SBF? And he says he was talking with SBF up until the point that SBF was arrested.
Yeah,
that's an indicator of a very special relationship.
Yeah, I see your point, and I don't think the problems that existed at FTX were simply any back and forth between your two firms. It definitely led to the disclosure that there had been money that was taken, but that disclosure raises lots of questions about firms like yours. Have you done the same? Has there ever been commingled funds? Have you ever taken any of the clients' funds and done anything with them? And again, why should we believe you? Because Sam Bankman-Fried told everybody, no, that hasn't happened. And he tweeted a lot of the same stuff that you've been tweeting in recent days, which I think gets back to this idea of show me the money.
Yeah, so let's get back to show me the money part. So Calvin omitted the fact that there's no records. That's not a problem to him. So he just want to talk to Sam and believe whatever Sam says. He doesn't want to look at the records. And if you look, and he wants to omit all the small spendings, $50 million, $200 million. $200 million is small spending. That's very convenient. He says he didn't know that Binance was a shareholder of FTX. So he invested in FTX without looking at the cap table. But he was very specific in the way he counts for a transaction 2 years ago. So that's kind of contradictory. So I think Calvin's a liar. So I think he's lying about a bunch of stuff. So that's his problem. To us, we want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this space.
Do it.
Now, before we go any farther, Binance used Mazars, right, as the people to essentially audit them. But what's interesting is that Mazars' official website shows that they have fully discontinued the Mazars Veritas, a section dedicated to cryptocurrency exchange audits. So on December 16th, Bloomberg also reported this morning that Mazars stopped doing proof of reserve audits for cryptocurrency companies. Other auditing firms, such as FTX's auditor Armanio, have also reported stopping working with crypto exchanges like OKX and Gate.io. Mazars is widely known as an accounting firm of former United States President Donald Trump's company, which is interesting because we do have some Donald Trump news later on in the video. But Mazars also indicated that they will temporarily pause their work with all of the other crypto clients globally, which include Crypto.com, KuCoin, and Binance. So this is where it goes to this sort of viral video mashup that came out from Tokyo over on Twitter. And, this is basically asking them about the 2.1 billion, to which he kind of just goes, we'll let the lawyers deal with that. We'll let the lawyers deal with that. So, that's kind of a weird, evasive, around the corner of the bush kind of answer, right? And, getting back to the auditing, they asked them, why don't you just use some of the big auditing firms, like, for example, what Coinbase uses, which is Deloitte. They're a top 4. And he says because they don't understand. So this is the clip right now that's going viral. And I want to play it for you guys.
We want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this space.
So do it. Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong. Even after the FTT price dropped over the last year, we still have $500 million worth of it, $580 million worth of it on the day when we transferred from the address we received it a year and a half ago. We never touched it. We actually kind of forgot about it.
But thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities. And I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with the firms to do the audit of financials, liabilities, etc. But the audits don't reveal every problem. So,
no, but an audit from a Big Four auditor would reveal that, CZ. If you could get a Big Four auditor to say that, if you're saying that some of them don't want to work with you, that raises questions too. They don't want to work with you because you don't have the files and the data that would make them feel comfortable signing off and giving that stamp of approval?
Actually, many of them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really when they audit, they're very used to auditing a firm.
Does Coinbase Coinbase has a Big Four reserves? Coinbase has a Big Four auditor.
Actually, I don't look at Coinbase. We don't really look at.
I think so, though.
I don't know the details.
So they understand it well enough.
Deloitte is the auditor for Coinbase.
So they can figure.
They do have some experience. Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong. The well-run crypto exchanges should hold user assets one-to-one. Very simply, Binance does not owe people money. Binance does not have loans from other companies, from other funds. We just don't have it. You can ask any fund in the ecosystem. You can ask any VC. We actually also do not have VC investments, so we don't owe anybody any money, and we also do not have loans to other people that we depend on for our next payroll. We are working with the firms to do the audit of financials, liabilities, etc.
Definitely led to the disclosure that there had been money that was taken, but that disclosure raises lots of questions about firms like yours. Have you done the same? Has there ever been commingled funds? Have you ever taken any of the clients' funds and done anything with them? And again, why should we believe you? Because Sam Bankman-Fried told everybody, no, that hasn't happened. And he tweeted a lot of the same stuff that you've been tweeting in recent days, which I think gets back to this idea of show me the money.
Yeah, so let's get back to show me the money part. So Calvin omitted the fact that there's no records. That's not, them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really, when they, so.
Now I just want to point out that CryptoQuant actually did some on-chain investigation to their reserves and says that Binance does in fact differ from FTX and Alameda in how clean their reserves are. Or to put it another way, how they're not reliant on the exchange's proprietary token BNB. For Binance, CryptoQuant says 88.95% of its reserves are clean. Okay, that compares with only 56 for Huobi, 66 for Bitfinex, 81 for KuCoin, 97 for Crypto.com, and apparently 100 for OKX, which just let me take a side note here. 100% for OKX. Now, what's super crazy is if we go over to Elon Musk's profile, he's only following 151 people, which is not that much. One of them down here is, in fact, OKX, which, as you guys can see now, has the new golden check mark, which says this account is verified because it's an official business on Twitter, right? Very strange. I don't know what that means. They're saying it has 100% and Elon Musk is following them, and they're one of the very few accounts so far to have this golden check mark. So very interesting. Side note, don't know what that means. But yeah, anyway, so getting back to what we were saying with Kevin O'Leary, that was just a weird side note. I just noticed that. But so then he, is over here talking to Joe at Squawk Box, where he's asking him, how did you go from basically saying that crypto was totally worthless, and then all of a sudden 6 months later, you were a Bitcoin bull? And listen to him attempt to explain the timeline. And, even Andrew kind of goes, hey, wait a minute. So you bought it and you said that you were against it? Kind of weird, right?
It seems like only yesterday, I was totally arguing with you on Squawk Box. You went from Charlie Munger's view on Bitcoin to Michael Saylor's view on Bitcoin. And I actually kidded you about it. I said, who are you? You may know nothing, but you're never in doubt. You're so strident when you said it was just worthless and rat poison. And then 6 months later, you're like this Bitcoin bull. So I didn't understand that conversion. Did that conversion coincide with the 15 million that you got from FTX?
No, I was investing 3.5 years earlier than that. I changed my mind back in early 2018 when I saw the regulators in jurisdictions like Canada, Switzerland, and Abu Dhabi start to change their minds. But I'll tell you what really got me investing, Joe. I mentioned these guest lecturing things I do. They're usually to graduating cohorts of engineers. And so these are classes at 6 to 9 at night. And these are the best and brightest at MIT or in business school at Harvard. I started to notice back in 2018, I'd say, okay, wait, where are you guys going? Where are you going? Because about a third of the class will create entrepreneurial efforts and they'll start businesses. They're all going to the blockchain. You can't spend that much intellectual.
I understand. I believed it back then. I'm just trying to figure why.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you. You just said you made this conversion in what year?
I think it was 2018 I started investing, yeah.
Okay, well, I just for, as a point of fact, for what it's worth, May 14th, 2019, you came on television and called Bitcoin garbage. Just
then I'm wrong. It's the year later.
And keeps it in
terms of guys,
keeping the time. But also, Kevin, so prior to that, you hadn't looked at it at all. I wonder about Munger. I wonder about a lot about it. Most of the people that call them beanie babies have never looked into actually how it works.
Now, there have been videos online that have surfaced about Kevin O'Leary and how it really is strange how he has come out and said that crypto was worthless, but then he was secretly buying it in the background. So obviously there's a lot of things coming out about this guy that just seem very shady, very non-trustworthy. I'm sure we could dig down the rabbit hole even deeper. I mean, obviously he is a paid spokesperson for FTX. He even went on TV that one time, remember, and was saying something about how he's just so happy that like 1% of the world like owns like as much money as the rest percent. I don't know, some crazy thing about whatever. And the ladies just kind of looking at him like, really? I don't have the clip, but I'm sure you guys have seen it before. But getting back to Binance, on top of it, another thing that had come out was that CZ was explaining why they didn't want to refund the 200,000 BNB to the project MITH after their token was delisted. They deposited 200 BNB, which they said was about $1 million at the time. This was part of their exchange listing process. But what happened was the project fell out of favor and was delisted. The value of those tokens are still worth around worth more than 50 million apparently, which the team is demanding back. But Binance CZ said that basically they broke their terms of service with them. He said the token price was way below the trigger levels. Reading the comments, your website is offline. You haven't tweeted or updated your community for almost 2 years. I believe our team has made the right decision and acted fully within our right to do so. So that was sort of that situation as well. And Charles Edwards, who you might be very familiar, he's the guy that really made the hash ribbon miner capitulation indicator pretty popular. He says the FTX fraud exposed and depleted reserves by 90%. You can see this massive drop off in less than 48 hours. By contrast, weeks of Binance FUD has seen their reserves drop only 6%. Statistically, this is noise, yet everyone is running around like a headless chook. Think rationally, look at the data. So, how do I feel about Binance? As I've said, guys, I don't really have an opinion either way. I don't use Binance. I don't trade on Binance. They kicked me off a while ago. But from what I have seen, there may be questionable things. Why are they not providing their liabilities, right? That's something that Jesse Powell has pointed out. But without taking either side of the FUD, and hopefully you guys have been able to watch these videos and sort of come up to your, with your own conclusion, I will just say at this point, just treat it like anything else. Don't keep your funds on an exchange, that you're not actively trading. That's really all there is to it, Put it in cold storage, and, obviously, that requires a bit of effort, right, on your behalf. You have to take care of your seed phrase and be careful not to share it with somebody. So that's kind of the risk that you take at this point until, these big guys like JP Morgan come in and start doing self-custody, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be pretty excited about that. But, nevertheless, that sort of is the case, right? So talking about other things, we do have Donald Trump right here, basically having this NFT sale, which some people thought that it was a deep fake because there was a video of him talking, but I guess it was posted on his account on Truth Social. So you could see some of these cards. It's him as a moon man and golfing and these other things, which maybe could have just been done by the Lensa app or something. Who knows? But nevertheless, they sold out. Pretty crazy times, guys. But yeah, I'm going to get to this at the end. We're going to hop in super quick. And let me just show you what I'm looking at in the charts. So basically, really quick, not much to go over, but I don't like the fact that we fell out of this downwards or this upwards sloping trend, right? We were in basically this ascending triangle. Look at what we had. We had a fake out at this level, and now we're sitting below it. But what we are seeing is that we're having this critical area where we were having resistance, having the resistance down here, flip support right here. It is currently holding as support, but you can see that we have fallen back into the flag. So, obviously we don't have to come down here and touch it. None of these points actually touched it right here. But, you could say that even if we went down to about 16,660, you could argue that we could still have that rebound, right? And on the longer term trend, comparing these downtrends, we are at the ultimate level of accumulation. And right here, you could see that you really don't want to fall much lower. Definitely not lower than the previous low of 15.5, but around 15 sort of, well, not even actually, around basically like $16,000 even at this point, you would need for Bitcoin to hold this trend. And, the same scenario right here, if you're looking more linearly, right, and you're going all the way back here to this really important weekly close in January of 2018, that was $16,981, give or take roughly 17 if you want to just round it to that level. So again, that is pretty much where we would want to have that support, right? We don't want to fall any lower than that because then unfortunately, guys, that does risk us falling down to our next level, which is that monthly close at around $13,800. And interestingly enough, if we just have a look at the Fibonacci's, taking the top of this peak down to the bottom here, you will notice that we are finding some form of support around the 0.786. However, there are a lot of people that say that, you really have to come down to about the 0.618. That's like the golden pocket or whatever you want to call it. And that level, crazy enough, actually does sit down at around $13,800. But, nevertheless, guys, you can make money in these markets by shorting or longing. And of course, if you are interested, you know that you can check out the tutorial popping up above. There's $46,000 in bonuses below. But, nevertheless, guys, let me know what you think about this situation with Kevin O'Leary and Binance. Do you think Binance is insolvent? Do you think that they maybe there's a little bit of lies going on, but for the most part, they're pretty good? Or do you think that there's just more shoes to drop and we have a lot lower to go in the Bitcoin price? Very interested to hear what you guys have to think. It is the weekend. Be safe out there. You know how I feel about weekend volume. I don't really trust it specifically for trading either. But that is it for me. We have to see if we hold above these levels on Monday. craziness in the space, I'll be here making videos for the most part every single day. And if you guys are not following me on all of my socials, make sure that you follow me. You can check the links below. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, believe it or not. If you guys are interested in that, make sure that you guys check out all the socials, because there are some things that I post on some of those that I don't post on others. So you kind of exclusively have to, be checking out all of them. So that's it for me. Thank you for coming back to the channel. If you do want to self-custody, I highly recommend you check out my Ledger tutorial and also my BitGet tutorial if you want to learn how to trade. That's it for me, guys. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.